What's the most baddest thing you've accidentally said in the heat of the moment? This was back in my junior year of college. At the beginning of the semester I was introducing myself to my very intimidating biochemistry professor. Guy was a genius but also a hard-ass. Students were all terrified to ask him questions because he was known for grilling people, and if they hadn't made enough effort beforehand he'd send them out of his office to learn on their own. As I walked into his office he was sorting through some boxes and made a really sarcastic comment regarding stuffing me in the box and shipping it off somewhere. He looked up for my response and I just blurted out without thinking I wouldn't mind going somewhere nice. Dude laughed so hard it actually startled me a little. We got along pretty well for the remainder of the semester, so it all worked out really well. It's amazing what a little laughter can do to ease tension. I was the lawyer in this criminal case arising out the Standing Rock events. That morning, some Lakota people had given us this traditional blessing to wish us well for the trial, and there were 5 to 7 activists sitting in the courtroom to watch and support us. It happened that there was a certain digital document that I needed before the jury got back from a break, and we didn't know just when the break would be over. I remember turning to the supporters holding up a thumb drive and telling them exactly what I needed from the office across the street and how to get it. I held out the thumb drive and with all the intensity of an ancient general sending his troops into battle said, "Fastest runner, go now." This tiny little young woman grabbed the thumb drive and hauled ass. She got back before the jury returned. We had a overly dramatic neighbor who always claimed she was sick and dying. My mom came to see my kids in the middle of battling stage 4 lung cancer. The neighbor pulled her. "Hi Rita, so glad to see you. Did Jason tell you that I am dying?" My mom looked right at her, smiled and said, "Me too, dear, but not today." Never more proud of her. At work at a company meeting, someone was presenting something cool they volunteered to work on and finished. They then explained things they thought they could do better in a self-deprecating way, and a bunch of other people started railing into his work with petty criticism. It was definitely good work, though, and a thought just hit me so I blurted it out. "Sometimes done is the best feature." A bunch of people laughed and then the criticism stopped. People gave him kudos and we moved on. Not really badass, but I was surprised this thought somehow came out fully formed. Like it was some phrase I've been saying for decades. I guess I was just realizing how many people don't finish anything they start. So done suddenly seemed like a pretty damn good feature. Give the man some credit for finishing the damn thing. I was crazy about this dude. He was intelligent, hot, funny, and a bit older. After a few weeks of dating he said he wasn't ready for a commitment. I told him to come pick up his book from my place and not to reach out again as it hurt too much. I was that into him. So he comes to my apartment. I go to hand him the book and begin to shut the door. He puts his foot in the way to stop it and says, "I don't know what to do. I'm not ready, but I can't stop thinking about you." Moving my hand off the door, I hand him the book anyways and said, "Then pick me up at 7. Anyways, now I'm married." Edit. Holy duck, I did not expect this to blow up. Thanks for all of the awards. Hub's response. That's a lot of upvotes. Around the time I was 12, I was at a family party with my dad and aunt's uncles. My dad told me that one of my uncles owned several bars. My response? "Oh, it's good that he got into a business that he knows something about." I had no idea what I really was saying. I thought I was giving him a compliment. "There's no way you're this much of an asshole naturally. You must go home and practice." I said this to a co-worker who was throwing a fit and bullying a quieter co-worker because he was pissed off. He had a habit of just being a giant douche anytime things didn't go his way. This comment pissed him off so much he just stormed into his office and stayed there the rest of the day. Win for the rest of us. I had a surgery and when I woke up, the nurse was really cute. So I started flirting with her. With no success. I had a second surgery and when I woke up, it was the same cute nurse. My first words to her were, "How many surgeries do I have to have before I get your phone number? We've been married 8 years now." The first day camping at a 2016 music festival, I headed off with a 4-gallon jug to get water. A girl who was with our group, who I'd never met before, asked if I needed help. I responded, "Yes, but I'd sure love some company." We're getting married this fall. I worked at a bookstore and a customer asked me how often do the periodicals come out. I deadpanned periodically, and he asked to speak to my manager. Worth it. Long time ago I was walking down a side street in a medium-sized town with my girlfriend. A car was parked ahead, with the front of the car facing us as we approached. I could see two kids, maybe in their late teens, and instantly could tell they were likely going to say something as my GF was rather attractive. As soon as we come up next to them I hear, "Hey baby, ditch the zero and come hang with the hero." I could feel my blood boil, but I kept my cool and calmly said, "Sorry buddy, I'm not gay, and don't call my girlfriend a zero." The dude's friend started laughing at him and my girlfriend made a sarcastic crying face, then we both started to laugh. At a party a few years back, someone stole my friend's purse. Her boyfriend found the guys who took it and got it back for her, but he was still in an angry, drunken rage and was continuing to escalate the situation when he was well outnumbered. My friend finds me and says, "I'm afraid boyfriend is about to get into a fight. I need your help. Stop him, please." I stand up and I tell her, "I can't promise you I can stop him from fighting, but I can promise you I won't let him lose," before walking off to find him. Ultimately, no fight actually broke out. I didn't realize that I had basically said a cheesy one-liner until after the fact when my friend told me how intense that line was. I didn't mean for it to sound so dramatic. I just wanted to let her know I wouldn't let him get his ass kicked. I didn't mean to make it sound like I was about to demolish 3 guys by myself like I'm some sort of action hero. Go wait with mommy, daddy might be going back to jail again. Guy pushed my 5-year-old daughter at the fish store and she started crying. And he heard me say that he ran out of the store. I've never been to jail before. Edit. Grammar. I already posted here, but I just thought of another story. There was this one extremely attractive girl in my COM 101 class in college. One day, for a project where we interviewed other students, I was partnered with her. We ended up not finishing our questions in class, so I asked her if I could meet her somewhere to finish interviewing her. She said yes. Fast forward to the next day, I meet her after her dance group finishes rehearsal. I knock through the last few questions, and the final one which I ask is, "What do you perceive the future to hold?" She replies, "I don't even know what I'm having for dinner tonight. I have no idea what the future holds." So I say, "Well, if you don't know what you're having for dinner, do you want to have dinner with me?" She laughed, said yes, and though we only hooked up that night, I still look back on that day as one of the best dating stories I've had yet. In a discussion with my parents in which they were clearly wrong and missing the point, they began yelling because they really hadn't arguments, and started talking about the respect I owe them as their son, saying that I was disrespectful for contradicting their position. I just answered something like, "From where would I learn respect if I haven't seen you guys respecting me or anyone?" And they went completely silent. I worked at Target back in college in a stocking job where we had to be there at like 4 to 5 AM to unload trucks. One morning I overslept a bit and walked to the unpacking line about 10 minutes late eating a breakfast bar. The boss stormed over and started loudly berating me in front of everyone for being late. As he was going on, I was listening and taking bites of the bar without much expression, mainly because I was so damn tired. It finally bothered him that I was disrespectfully chewing during the yelling and he stopped mid-sentence, held out his hand, and said, Give me that damn thing. It just happened that I only had one bite left, so I took it, handed him the wrapper, and said thanks with a mouthful of food. He paused and started laughing at the ridiculous response to his itching. We were buddies after that. I actually said nothing. I was on my motorcycle in traffic, on a wet overpass with short jersey walls. Guy behind me was driving a bit too fast and slammed on his brakes, sliding into me, but no damage as he was going slow enough to touch and push me about 5 feet before finally coming to a stop. The angle had me going straight forward so I did not fall. Had it been much faster I would have been thrown over the edge to my death. So obviously I was not happy. I turned off the engine, got off the bike and slowly walked over to the driver that hit me. It's only a few feet, and when he saw me coming to him, he furiously started raising his manual window, so I could just see him struggling to pump the winder. When I got there I just knocked on his window, pointed at him, and turned around and walked away. He looked terrified. I didn't think about it until later. A guy you just hit in a car wearing a black helmet, with shaded visor, black heavy thick jacket, black heavy riding pants, road crafted jacket and pants, black thick and metal studded gloves, and black leather boots knocks on your window and points at you for being a supreme dumbass. I had no idea. I just wanted to talk to him, be a bit angry but tell him I was okay, then take a sec to verify my bike was okay as well. Got to work one morning. My chosen football team had thrashed my boss's chosen team. I gave him a load of it for it. Humorously, of course. My boss is great. He gave me some it back and told me to do a stock take on all items we have beginning with the letter C. I pointed at him and said, 1. Luckily, he took it the correct way and laughed a lot. In a class at university, each student had to give a presentation about a scene, tick paper and answer questions about it. We were told to ask the speaker questions, because otherwise the professor would, and his questions would obviously be harder. That professor was really brutal in his critiques of the presentations, but also fair and accurate. In any case, I asked a question after every single presentation. But when my turn came, no students wanted to ask anything. So the professor asked me if I wanted to ask myself a question. Without even thinking about it, say, how come your presentation was so extremely excellent? I was mentally preparing to be chewed out. Instead, the professor needed a minute to stop laughing and then gave me the best grade possible. Edit. Yay. First I got the expensive kind of internet points. Thank you, stranger. I'm late to the party, but oh well. I work in waste management. I'm also a rather small person. Like, they don't make clothes at Old Navy in my size small. I was wheeling a stack of drums out to our loading dock, navigating pretty much purely on instinct since I couldn't see over or around them. Lo and behold, there's someone there chatting with the shipping people. I run straight into him. I'm surrounded by everyone in shipping, some fairly big dudes, and I feel amazingly embarrassed. I leaned around the drums to look at the guy I hit, and without even thinking, said, "The duck you want me to do? See through Ossium?" Everyone burst out laughing and the guy even opened the door to the dock for me. Every time I see him now he pretends to duck. Edit. I'm not going to grandstand about getting silver, but would just like to say it's my first one and it's a lot more exciting than I thought it would be, to be honest.